prepare yourselves, for it is time to embark on fetch questing with your guides, Zonda and Elgwin.
Sir, it's Zach and Chris.
Zach and Chris, let us now embark. It's a gaming podcast.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Fetch Questin'. It's been a while, Zachary.
We're live.
We are live.
We're not dead.
We're live for each other.
We've been getting a lot of questions. We had a spirit medium reach out to us, which was really weird because I've never been contacted psychopathically like that. But we're not dead.
Yeah,
so,
we're not.
Life
worked,
happens,
but, you know.
Life happens.
You know. I don't know.
Yeah, with the holidays, we were very busy. We had some PC issues. Well, Chris did. We also just threw a fit one day and just said, fuck them all. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah. And then,
that was...
we had to come back and be like, well, it's just for us anyway, so why does it matter?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's,
That's right.
You people need to hear, and that's what it's, at the end of the day, you guys need to hear me bitch about shit that I care about that you don't. That's what this podcast is.
You need to hear me talk about Zelda.
It's a medium for me to complain about the games that you play.
Yep.
Because they're bad. And then I get to, rejoice when you play a good game. And then you stop playing that game. So then you talk about other games that I don't give a shit about. So I have to listen to that. I gotta keep you on track. Okay, every time you swerve from a Dragon Quest, I got to get you back on track.
I really want to get. I mean, that's the other thing. So just like we kind of fell out of this podcast, I've fallen out of Dragon Quest, and I want to get back in. Just like we obviously have been trying to get back into doing the podcast.
Yeah,
we literally have been. There was no intentional break. It was.
I think we intended on doing like a week, because we're like, okay, well, Christmas is coming, but we intended on doing like an end of the year thing, and then like all this stuff, and it just did not happen. And at this point, it doesn't matter.
We just kept having conflicts, so then we had your PC fried. Had to get some repairs there, and then just work stuff not quite lining up. So glad to be back. Glad to finally be doing it again. That's the big takeaway here. And I will be happy once I get back into Dragon Quest. But in the meantime, I've been playing some other stuff that's also very, very good. So
you're
life's hard.
You're playing something Dragon 10 essentially. It's kind of the same.
I don't know if I can call that one very, very good yet. But I don't know.
I would say it's a solid 7.5.
All right.
That's what I would say it's at if I was to rate what I've played now.
Obviously talking about Dragon Ball Z Kakorat.
Dragon Ball Kakorat.
Yep. I saw the English voice actor who did the announcer stuff next time on Dragon Ball Z. I saw he recently passed.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's very sad.
So, I mean, I guess we can get in. We're playing Dragon Ball. You can
might as well jump in right there.
It's the thing I've been playing most, Then so we'll say I'll ask you a question. I obviously know the answer to this, but other people may not. I assume you're playing it in English.
Yeah, I am playing it in English.
I am not, obviously. I mean, if it was just this podcast, I'm playing it in Japanese. Because that's the right answer. Because as much as I don't have to hear Sean Schimmel, it makes my day so much brighter.
We've talked about it before. I like the English. I like the English a lot.
Sean Shem was fine in like small bursts, but like to hear him for a 60-hour game, I don't know that I could do it. And so I played it. I did play it on PC. So I'm playing on PS4 primarily, but I played it on PC just to kind of see what the differences were. And so I played in English there. So I played about an hour of it like in English, and I was just like, I don't know. The more I hear his Goku, the less I like his Goku. I don't know. I'm just like, and it didn't used to be that way. Like I used to watch the show in Japanese and I would watch all the movies in English and I would never watch any of the movies in Japanese, which was weird. I don't know where my disconnect was there, but I always liked their performances. I thought they did way better, like in movie form, so like Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, like I always watched those in English, not in Japanese, because I really liked, I like Frieza in English. And so now it's become that like, I'm so torn because there are like specific characters that when I'm in Japanese, I miss like hearing them,
Definitely.
So like King Kai is one that I really like Sean Schimmel doing King Kai. and I think it's better than the Japanese one.
And I think he likes doing King Kai more than he likes doing Goku.
Yeah, and so, but it's just like, I just can't, like...
Some of that translates.
And I think even with, like, even in the game, like, this is what made it clear for me, and then I was like, because I've always thought he plays it a little too goofy, like, for me, but, like, in the game, it cemented that very much. I was like, because I got to hear the same things, directly with, like, in a time period, and it was a different medium, it wasn't the show. Because it's like, you can interpret it however you want, but the video game's very much like, this is what's happening, Like, and it was just a weird small moment, and it was like, even in that small moment, he plays it so much goofier than Nozawa does, and it doesn't need to be goofy. Like, it's in the opening moments of Dragon Ball, when you're just dealing with your kid. Like, I don't know, his Goku is just too playful, I think, sometimes, and I don't think Goku's always that dumb and playful, like... And because Goku's not an idiot, but I just think even in the smallest moments, Schimmel plays him as an idiot. And I don't think it's intentional. I don't think that's his, like, intent, like, in the voice. But I just, like, Nozawa just has more levels of Goku, like, a range of Goku than he does. It's kind of, his is like Goku and then serious Goku. Like, it's when he's fighting and then when Goku is not fighting.
So, I mean, Schimmel has made the point that if you don't speak the language and don't know the little tells or the little all the little nuances of Japanese, like there is, and I thought the same thing. When you listen to something in Japanese, you might be putting an assumption on, like, oh, that tone they're using equals blank, when really, like, if you knew the culture and knew the language and knew the nuances, you might be like, oh, that means, the opposite. It means something similar but different. So I mean, I've always thought when you're listening to Japanese, I mean, there's a little bit more of, you can put a little bit more of yourself in it to compensate for the lack of the cultural understanding or
well, and I think the only reason I think that way is partly, I mean, obviously I can speak some Japanese, I can read some Japanese, but I think it's mainly just from hearing her voice. She inflects the same way, on certain things. So that's why it's like when I'm taking the exact same sentence and comparing it to the exact same sentence that they're saying, it's like, I don't think it's meant to be played as that. Obviously, I'm reading it too, so they're just saying the same line.
Because it could be goofy in Japanese. You might just, like, a Japanese person who's lived in the country for years might say, oh, that's a super goofy way of saying that. But to us, it sounds more serious.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's plain because I just see how she plays Goku all the time, and you can kind of tell, like, when she's serious. Like I said, there's still just a different level of her voice that is different. Whereas, like, Schimmel's, obviously I speak English, so it's like I can tell his inflections, and I think it is a very much. But I think Goku is him. That's the thing. Like, he's not interpreting what Nozawa's doing. I've never thought that.
No, he's not. And he's made very clear that he doesn't do that.
And so that's why I can...
He owns the character in English.
Yeah.
And I respect him for that, because I don't think someone should just watch the Japanese and try to do it, like shot for shot, word for word, intonation per intonation, because... you're never going to capture it quite right, because again, if you haven't lived in Japan and haven't experienced the culture, you're not even really going to understand, like, the inflections. It's just so different. Like, in English, it's more culturally acceptable to end on a certain, to have different ups and downs in a sentence that you wouldn't have in Japanese. You may have the opposite. You may have a down, which might be an up, and then up, etc. So there's no point in a voice actor trying to mimic them in a way, just in English, because of the cultural and emotional differences.
Yeah, and I think,
I don't know.
And I'm fine with that too. That's why I think I just, like, I know he's doing, and that's why and that's another thing, just listening to him talk about Goku, that's how I can tell that it's different, because the way that she talks about it, and then the way he talks about it, I know that, like, when he's being silly, he's purposely doing it more so than she does, and he's even stated that, like, that he knows he is.
I believe that.
And so that's why in those moments, like, that's why I can tell that he's playing it up more. Also, just listening to interviews with that man, like, talk about Goku, you can you can kind of tell, like, what he's going for.
He is such an interesting person too. He's so, I mean, he has said it. He's ADD, and he is
Also, I just don't
ADHD, but he goes all over the place, and he's fun to listen to for a while, but then it's like, my gosh, you are a crazy man.
Yeah, and I think and like I said, it may something you said is a good point too, and I think that may be the difference also for me is that like, because like even before Schimmel, like I watched Dragon Ball, I watched some of the Ocean dubs and stuff like that. So Schimmel is not like the end all be all Goku, even for me as somebody who watched it in English, Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Like I think him coming, he's done it for a long time, but I just think that in the Japanese, you saying that like, hey, yes, I can put some of me in it. I think that is the case too, because it is very much like I can put how I see how I would interpret Goku as being, now part of that is totally. I've watched all of the show. I've watched every facet of Dragon Ball in Japanese at this point, and in English. So like I have these direct comparisons, but obviously the last couple years I only watch it in Japanese. I don't, now I saw the Broly movie in English, obviously, because that was what it was in here. And I did like that. Like I said, we were just talking about, like, I like the movies in English, So I think sometimes Schimmel does a good job. And it, like I said, I think it's a very much a personal preference of, I just don't really like his take on Goku now. That's the thing. It's waned on me over time. It is not.
It makes sense
because
it makes sense.
So much the same, and and that's not his fault. It's the material. But I think his voice over time is grating as opposed to Nozawa's voice. And obviously, it's a different language. But like,
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that when he started, he was told to, like when he got the character, he's like, "Hey, you are doing an impersonation. You got this job because you do a good impersonation of," and I can't forget his name, but the
other guy
who was doing the Ocean dub Goku.
Yeah.
And he got the job because he was doing a good impersonation of him. The whole point was to try and come in and change as little as possible. And then throughout the years, as he really got more agency over the character, he could kind of adapt that and change it to how he saw fit. So it's this weird amalgamation of like him doing an impersonation of someone else's Goku for a while, and then transitioning that and taking more control of that while never really truly changing the voice.
Yeah.
So I can understand why at first you'd be like, oh yeah, this is fine because it's not, it's just, it seems like similar, but then he kind of gets some agency and can do some changes here and there. And And that's where you start to be like, well, this is weird. This is, well, I don't know.
And see, anyway, I don't even know what the breaking point is. I can't even tell you like what it is, because it's like I said, I watched Battle of Gods and Resurrection F in English, Like I've only seen those movies once in Japanese, but I've seen them multiple times in English. So it had to have been after that broke me. And I don't know, like I said, because I watched all of Super in Japanese, but watching, as I bought the Blu-rays, like watching Super in English, I just could not do it. I was just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. And I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what it was. I don't know what changed, or because I don't mind Sabbat as Vegeta. I don't like, in my mind when I'm playing the game, it's like, I know Ryu's obviously, Ryo's a very good Vegeta, and I like him in Japanese, but like in my brain, if I think about Vegeta, it's the Sabbat Vegeta, and so it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's this weird, my brain is just so filled with character specific people that it's like, I think that's just where my brain goes. Like I like Nozawa more, but I like Vegeta, Sabbat more. And then I like,
it's funny
King
when they
Kai
transitioned.
More,
it's funny when they transitioned to the the Funimation from the Ocean dub. They only told some characters to like do an impersonation.
Yeah.
Like Sean Schemmel was like, all right, so try to keep they told him try to keep the voice the same as it was. With Vegeta, they were like, all right, do a completely different voice.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
because his English is way different.
Yeah. And I mean, that's and I think the other part is, and I know this is, it's obviously it's not their fault, but also like Sabbat doing so many of the voices, like in Japanese, there is more diversity in the voices. They are different people, Now, some of the people do multiple characters, but there aren't as many people being voiced by the same people.
Yeah, Sabbath does so many.
So many, and at some point I'm just like, it just kind of sounds like Vegeta, just different, He's not as good as Sean Schemmel at changing his voice. I'll give Schemmel that. Like, even though you can hear Sean in King Kai, it is a very different voice.
Totally.
Like, and whereas like Vegeta, I'm like, anything he does, that's why it worries me, because I have not watched, I just got like the 9th version of, I got the 9th disc of like Super in English. I'm so afraid to like watch it because I like Jiren so much in Japanese that I'm just afraid that he's going to like, they're just going to ruin all of these other characters. Like, in obviously how I watched it,
Some of them, I will say I'm not a big fan of some of the Pride Trooper voices, like the rabbit dude. I didn't like his, I don't know. It was just a different take. Or even the clown dude, different take on how like I said, very, very different from how I interpreted the Japanese, at least.
That's what I'm saying, and that may be different, and I may be on spot with how the and the other thing is, like, I've watched enough people that like Dragon Ball that also know Japanese, are fluent in Japanese, and they also prefer that. So I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's just how it. Obviously, I think it's better because that is the native language that Dragon Ball is written in. So and the other thing I think I have an issue with is I think because Sabbath has so much control of what they're doing, it is their clear vision of what Dragon Ball becomes as opposed to how it was initially written. It is because it's basically being translated and then reinterpreted from that translation and then given to us. But it's all through the filter of Sabbath, So it is this weird thing that the humor is very much the same, whereas I think the humor is very different in Japanese. So I don't know, like
True.
And so I think that maybe what it is at this point is that the way they do humor is like kind of grating at this point. It's kind of the same, but I don't know. Like I don't know how to describe how I feel. It's just,
Well, let's get into how we feel about the actual game.
Yeah.
So I suppose I'll start with my initial reaction just because I've played a lot less. And then you can kind of build from there maybe. Okay. So I've only been able to put it in about 2.5 hours, and where that's gotten me. So for those of you familiar with the Dragon Ball series, that puts me just at beating Raditz. So Dragon Ball Z opens up with, Goku and his young lad Gohan, and in this game you start out. It kind of guides you to what the open world looks like, what kind of things you can collect, what the fishing is like. They explain Goku's tail is an invention from Bulma.
Yeah, that was good. I was worried about that.
I was like, how is this going to work? And I was so curious up in that scene, and I'm like, okay, how is he going to do this? Like, hey, Gohan, look, it's my tail from way back when, and I can still stick it up my butt and control it. And it's still, I've seen a lot of jokes, and I even kind of felt this way myself. I'm like, okay, so she made him a butt plug, a fishing butt plug tail.
It's funny,
too. How does he pop it in?
I'm thinking about it. There is actually a side quest that you do where Oolong actually asks about the tail, and so you as Gohan are like going to Kami being like, hey, where's Goku's tail? Like, what happened to it? Like, why did he get rid of it, And so it's this cool moment where they actually addressed why he doesn't have a tail,
cool.
What happened to his tail, and Oolong's, he's like, don't you want, like, Dad to have a tail again? And Oolong's like, fuck no, like, no. I remember that shit. Like, yeah, we got the Rampage some shit, but damn, no, we don't need a Goku
That's
8.
Funny.
Like, so, like, those are the small things that I just noticed, but it kind of links in stuff that, like, isn't in the show, like, Oolong talking about, like, back in the day when Goku became an ape, and Gohan's just curious, like, who cut it off? Why'd they cut it off? Like,
yeah, it's
because
like,
his dad wouldn't have told him that. Like,
right.
Like,
well, it's because he doesn't even remember. He's just like, my tail.
Yeah,
happened,
he doesn't know. Yeah, so it's
he still doesn't even know that he becomes a giant monkey.
Yeah.
With it. He doesn't know until he fights Vegeta. It's cool. So I haven't gotten to see a lot of it yet, and you have been saying you have.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. But they do a lot of stuff where they add new material based on the old. Like it stays within the canon very, very, very well and addresses all these old things that happened while giving new situations surrounding them. So it's like little bursts of nostalgia without being the exact same scene again. It's like other characters and how they react around it. And that's cool. That's very cool. But, so yeah, I mean, I just did, I got to fly around a little bit and collect all the floaty orb thingies. Yeah, I don't know how fun that is, but
you don't have to do it at all.
Okay, I don't even know what it does.
So
like
those,
they said it.
those unlock stuff in the skill tree. So you'll have to have a certain number of orbs in order to like do that. But like I said, I only collected them when I was flying from place to place. You will just get them.
You don't really have to go out of your way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I would never. You don't need to grind for them.
That's good.
You know. Also, at one point, you know, you can collect the Dragon Balls and you can summon Shenron, and he'll just give you like 10,000 of each if you want.
That's cool.
So.
But yeah, so I did, did a couple side quests. Those are kind of fetch questy, or just go talk to this person, then go talk to this person, then go talk to that person. And I guess the excitement from that comes from the characters being right out of Dragon Ball and them talking about those past situations, and again, a little nostalgia. I don't think the actual quests themselves seem super sub quests. At least so far, they don't seem super interesting, but at least the characters are, and they, it brings back lots of old characters, which is cool. And then you actually, got to fight. You fly around, there's little robots that pop up, and you get to fight them, and then the boss battle. So you fight Raditz a few times, and there's an actual like boss battle version of Raditz where he does a couple special attacks that you have to dodge, and it was fun. It's the combat is, at least so far, is it's simplistic, but it's like deceivingly simplistic. It is a lot of like rock, paper, scissors. You really, it will punish you for just trying to button mash. You do kind of have to have purpose to the way you're fighting, and you gotta be aware of what the other characters doing and play defensively, and then counter and do that kind of stuff. So I like that. Before I actually fought Raditz, before killing him, I just happened to stumble on like a streamer playing it on Facebook, and they took forever to beat Raditz. They died, and they like had to try again, and took a long time and made it look really hard. And I didn't have that much trouble with it. It was a bit of a longer battle, but it did have me a little worried. I mean, worried and excited, because I'm like, I don't mind it being a long fight if it's challenging and fun. And it was good. I had a good time fighting him. So now I got to the point where I'm Kid Gohan going to be trained by Piccolo, and I don't know where that's going to go. So yeah, that's my first. I mean, it's fun so far. It's the RPG elements are okay. It's not the most not going to be the most influential RPG or anything. It's not going to be The Witcher. But it is, for a Dragon Ball game, it is the most expansive so far from what I've seen, and has promised to be very good. So
yes.
Yeah.
So what I will say is I think the subquest range from like super tedious to interesting. Like the ones that like
I could see
are
that.
just like, hey, go talk to this character. They're very simple in the beginning, but as you get to the middle of that game, kind of where the part that I just came from, I think they get better. So like I just did the driving one. There was one that, because Yamcha was dead, Per was impersonating Yamcha and like going out on dates with all the girls to make sure that the girls were still happy when Yamcha came back from the dead. And so you were like going around and helping him with that. So there's like weird stuff like that isn't in the show, like it's weird, that you get to kind of go talk to him and being like, hey, like Yamcha's gonna be fine, but And so it's those small interactions with random side characters that you don't always have. These characters have these relationships, but you kind of get to peer into them. Like, what would this character be doing if Yamcha actually did die? And when Yamcha does die. So it's nice that they spend time and kind of give you those small moments that are weird and silly.
They
and
build
like,
on. Yeah.
But it does flesh out those characters just even a little more, even though we know a lot about them. At some point you don't really see Yamcha anymore. So it's kind of nice to be like, yeah, you're reliving that. Like I said, it is nostalgia, but I think it takes it just that notch further where it's like nostalgia, but with a little bit of extra on top, going like, here's the thing that and now we're going to add just a small, thin thread on top of the thing that but it doesn't break what you know about these characters. Like, it's all in character with what you're doing. Just like, okay, for example, like, whenever you are Vegeta after all that and you come and you're just playing Vegeta in the open world, in between, he's wearing like his bad man suit, the pink shirt and shit like that. So it's just like small shit that they didn't have to do. but you can tell that they give a shit about the anime that they're making. And it's like
that's cool, and that's nice.
And it doesn't just have the car thing in it, him getting a driver's license, but it's actually organically put into the thing. It's not just like, hey, go do it, because I thought it was just going to be like one of the sub quests that you can go do. No, Chi-Chi, like he gets home and she's like, why can't you drive like all the other neighbors do and go get food for us when we need it, like blah, blah, blah. You need to go get a license. And he's like, well, Piccolo doesn't have one either. And she's like, you and Piccolo go right now. And so it takes you into that quest, like, and so you do it, and then from there, like once it actually opens up, you can actually then build the hover car and like drive around in it, So it's like, it's these weird progressions in the game that are so small, but they kind of linked all this silly, stupid shit like into the core of the game, which is what I think is cool about it, is that like, and you don't really see it from the beginning. Like all the stuff you're doing kind of doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, these are just RPG things, I'm collecting these minerals and these rocks, but it all feeds into these weird systems where you're like, okay, like, I'm going to eventually get to build a hover car. That's cool. And then when you get to the training room, when they unlock the training room, which the lady that, it also has weird Easter eggs for other Dragon Ball games. We talked about this a little before. Dragon Ball games that aren't even affiliated with, Dragon Ball. So like Android 21 is in the game, and the chick from Fighters, and she's
interesting.
And she's the one who is running the training ground, so there's Mira and the other guy from Xenoverse 2 are in it. So, like, there's just cool things where they took, like, these games that are always so shunned from actual, like, Dragon Ball. Because it's either, like, here's a Dragon Ball game, or here's this thing that is just showing you Dragon Ball occasionally. This is kind of like, here's all of Dragon Ball, but these things also exist, on the fringes of Dragon Ball. And we know that you fucking played Fighters, and we know that you played Xenoverse 2. Like, it's cool that they, like, know as a fan that you've played those things, and them incorporating those things, even though they're not in Dragon Ball Z, they know that you played those things, So it tells you that, like, not only do they play video games, but they also have a reverence for Dragon Ball, It is, you may know this, but it's CyberConnect 2, so it's the people that made all those Ultimate Ninja Storm games. So even though I have no affinity for, like, Naruto, like, those games have always played well, and I know people that are into it have always been like, yes, they're very faithful to that. They've done that. So it doesn't surprise me that they did such a good job with Dragon Ball. But you can also tell that Dragon Ball's a weird thing, because like when people that care about it do it well, you can tell that they've actually put time, and also that Bandai gave them time to fucking make this game, because it's not a short game. It's not just a cash grab. It's not just like, hey, here's Dragon Ball again, do it. It seems like they actually put time, and they had time to make the game. There are some.
It's definitely. I mean, it's a love letter to Dragon Ball.
It really is, and
made for the fans, and it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna wow anybody outside of the fandom, and that's okay.
Yeah,
it really is okay.
And that, I mean, Fighters kind of bridged that gap. I think in a good way, where
totally.
It was like, hey, even if you don't like Dragon Ball, this fucking looks incredible. And if you like fighting games, like, so it's this weird thing that we've gotten 2 Dragon Ball games back to back that are weirdly different, but both like, I don't know. And see, the weird thing is, like, the story in Fighters is terrible. Like, they got that so fucking wrong. And it's so much of the old, like, here, just fight shit, and then to have, like, Kakarot be on the other end of, like, this is the story done so right, that it's cool to kind of have those both exist, because like Fighters is so pitch perfect to what that anime looks like that it is kind of crazy, like, and obviously nothing's going to play like that. But I think this is a good balance of like those Naruto games being like those arena fighters. Obviously it's way better than fucking Jump Force, so, but I think it's a good balance between Xenoverse 2, because Xenoverse 2 was fine, but this kind of refines that a little bit better. The flying is way better. It's not awkward like those games were. So I do like it. And I like that they take the time with the story beats, It's not just like, hey, let's fight Raditz, and you fight once and then it's done, and then you go to Nappa, and then you go to Vegeta, and then
I'm curious to really get into the Saiyan Saga stuff because obviously in the show, when they do start fighting, and some, I mean, any of the big bosses, when you do get into it, like, there's not a lot of time in between story beats. Like when they fight Nappa and Vegeta, like they each just kind of take turns fighting Nappa until they're all dead, and and Goku pops in finally.
And that's how it is in there. Yeah,
fight,
they literally they fight. They all fight. You do a fight. And they get knocked out and they get killed, and then Piccolo and Gohan are and they do their thing, and then Goku's there. Like, I mean, it is that.
So you kind of it's not a lot of. I mean, like I know before Raditz, so I fought him as Piccolo. When he's kind of flying around trying to find Goku, and then I fought him as Goku on the island, and then I had time to run around, even though it didn't make sense. I mean, it felt like a true RPG in this sense, because that's what always happens in RPGs. It's like, you have to do X, and there's urgency behind it. But in the meantime, like, this guy needs some help selling some rocks, and this guy needs some help fighting some robots. And I'm like, well, obviously, I'm going to do those things because I know Goku's about to die, and I won't get to do them later. So it is funny. I mean, whatever. Every RPG suffers from that. I'm not going to criticize for that. Like, my son's been kidnapped and we should go fight this dude. It's urgent, but let me take care of a couple things first.
Yeah, and I feel like it gets less so like that because, like, when you get into the Saiyan stuff, especially when you get into the Frieza stuff, because you're on Namek. So there aren't. I mean, there's some stuff, but it really has to do with like Frieza Force members, where like. You go to this Frieza Force member, and he's like, yeah, I'm a great cook, and I need you to go get me all these things, and he doesn't want you to take him back, because, you're in, Gohan and Krillin are in the Frieza uniforms at that point, and he's like, no, don't take me back, I just want to cook. Like, so these weird things, but you're just kind of flying around, and so it's funny that you would just find him, and do the stuff, so there still is that urgency, though, because I still felt like, okay, I'm going to do these things, but I need to go, like, and they're so short that it wasn't like this, like, they're not 15, 20 minutes long, they're like 5-minute things, and you're like, okay, I've got 5, and they're usually on your way. They're not like out of the way. So you're like, they're in the path of you going to where you need to go. But it does break it up, because I feel like, in the old games, it's like fight. This breaks it up a little bit, where it's like, okay, I fought Nappa twice or whatever. I beat him or Raditz. Give me a break. Let me go do a few side things. Let me go buy some healing stuff, and then I'm going to get back in it, I think that's the stuff that Xenoverse did well, too, where it's like you can go do a bunch of stuff, but there's that break of, okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to, like, heal up. I'm going to change my outfit, and then I can go back at it. So I think it has that same cadence. I just think the story stuff done so much better when you're in it that you don't think about that stuff, because it is long stretches of story. So I think that's the good part, and like on Namek, there's really only like 1 or 2 side things, and then you're going from place to place. It moves. Like, I will say that it gets better at, like, I think they're slowly easing you into it. Whereas like those later ones, it's, the Namek, after the Namek stuff, then you have that intermission where you're like, okay, I'm going to go do all this stuff, but you're also not on Earth. So I think that's the different. I think that's why I liked it so much. That's when it clicked for me, because there wasn't all this shit to do on Earth, which later becomes available and you do more after that. But so Namek is the most fun I had, like, with that stuff, I'm not too excited for the Cell stuff because it is fucking really long. That's my only thing now, is like I haven't even gotten to the androids. I will say, so yeah, if anybody knows where I'm at, I'm in the android part, of the Cell Saga. Like, I'm almost 30 hours in, like, and I'm just now there, so I'm basically at the halfway point, past the halfway point, because I'm in that saga. So, but I still have all of that to go, and they're like 7 hours a saga. So, I mean, I'll probably end up putting 50 or 60 hours into this, which I didn't expect, because in the beginning I heard it, like, people were like, oh, it's like 30. But it's like, yeah, it's 30 if you just do that shit, you know? And so it's cool that, like, there is way more. Like, I'm excited that, because when I first started playing it, you kind of think that's all there is. There's just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do these, like, pretty shitty side quests, and then I'm going to go on. So I think there's more to it, especially if you like Dragon Ball a lot. I think you kind of forgive the subparness of the quest, because you're getting to do... You get to be in the Dragon Ball world that is so well realized that, the characters look good, the models are good, the voice acting's good. Everything is so up to par that there's, so what if the fucking, like, bullshit 5-minute quests aren't that great, In the grand scheme of the game, like, they got the story shit right. And that's the part that matters, you know? And the fact that you can replay this shit that you've seen 1,000 times and it still gets you, like, it's still well done, that says something,
yeah,
you know?
I mean, it really speaks for the anime as a whole, and the story as a whole. It is classic, and it's fun. It's. I mean, I know when we first kind of saw everything about it, it's like, oh, do we really want to play through the same story again? And I even kind of said, I was like, man, why can't they just do, try to do some original stuff? And then I realized, oh wait, they did that with Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, and it was
fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, I mean, they didn't. Actually, I would say I've only played Xenoverse, and I will say the original stuff they did is better than just the going back through timelines and redoing big battles. In my opinion, that game got good when you started fighting the extra, the new people, the time traveler people.
Yeah,
so why can't you just take us through a different, make a truly original story with these characters without dragging us from all the old battles. Now, if you're gonna do all the old battles, this is the way to do it. This is the most faithful, rendition of it, and it really does pay it homage. Instead of, the problem with Xenoverse is they were kind of half-assed. Like, you're gonna go back and you're gonna fight Vegeta, and then he's gonna get extra strong. It's weird.
Yeah, it was
weird.
A
little different.
Yeah. Well, and I think Xenoverse 2 did a lot. They did that stuff a lot better, But the thing about Xenoverse 2 that is also, I think, that kind of elevates it and why I think people were into it is because Beerus was there, Whis was there. They incorporated the current stuff of Dragon Ball at that time, So you got to go, like, do a bunch of super classes with that, and then you could eventually go to, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. You got to those points, So I think it was like, okay, I can keep going with my character, whereas, like, this at a point just ends, and I get that this is the stuff, I am curious to see what they add, because they are doing, like, they're doing one original story and then two other things. So I'm wondering if there will be super shit in this. Because if they're doing, like, two stories that already exist, it would make sense for them to maybe do, even if it's like Battle of Gods or Resurrection F, if it's that kind of stuff, it's just like, hey, there's some missions here, bringing Frieza back, something. I don't know what they're going to do.
I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be very cool.
I will say, and this is a moment that I didn't know that I had so much joy for, but man, they fucking draw out fucking Frieza again, and it's like seeing that arc again, you're just like, fucking Frieza is such a little shithead. Like, I love him now, but, like, in that saga, he's such a dick. Like, and then to, like,
oh yeah, he's
for the next thing, for him to come back, and then you get to see fucking Trunks just fucking wipe the fucking floor with not only all of them, he kills, like, all the dudes, then fucking Frieza, and he just fucking wipes them all, and then, like, they just kind of walk over, and they're like, who the fuck happened? It's pretty great. Right. It was that moment where I'm just this is why this show is so great, because it's,
I know.
And it's also in succession, now, where it wasn't. It's like, just in this game, you, like, it's like Frieza's such a dick, and then he just gets fucking just sliced in, like, 5 minutes of this game. And it's like, this is why this is great. Also, this is why Trunks is great. Like, you get to see, like, old Trunks, because Trunks is kind of whiny and super, because Maya's there, and I'm just like, this is what I love about Trunks. He just fucking comes.
He was real annoying and super.
I mean, that's not a great arc anyway, so it's not. I don't blame Trunks.
People say it's the best. Well, people said it was the best before the final tournament arc.
Yeah, because that's the fucking best.
God, Super is just. And here's the thing: when I watched Super,
it's just fighting.
I didn't start, so I started watching it when it first was being released, and I was watching.
So did I. And it was
like,
bad.
I've already seen this shit. I've already seen Battle of Gods, and I got bored with them dragging it out. And then I watched nothing until the tournament arc, and then I just watched the tournament arc, all in Japanese, and was like, this is amazing. Like, I'm gonna go back and watch all of Super. And I felt the same way about it. I'm like, okay, I guess all I care about is the tournament arc, but that's when it finally found its footing and then ended. Just sad.
Well, I think it's, that became like that one dude that was doing art for them. I can't remember his name now. He was one of the main dudes on Broly also. But yeah, it's fine that they gave a shit, and they're like, let's give people time to fucking make Dragon Ball. And I think also they had done all this stuff, they were kind of, and but they had to create new characters. I think that was that moment where they were just like, we got to do something different. We can't just rely on the shit we've done before. So I'll give them, points for like even the tournament, the Universe 6 stuff. Like they were at least trying stuff, and I think there's like nuggets of that stuff that came out of it.
The Universe 6 stuff I appreciate because it was nice to see them
awesome.
fighting.
So we got hit, which is cool, you know.
Well, it was nice to it was nice to see them fighting like a bunch of weak people and holding back just because they're like, okay, we could mop the floor with them, but we're not going to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then hit was like, okay, that's cool. But
I'm gonna time skip.
It was creative. It was creative not to just have them like bring a whole tournament. Like, haha! Like, Universe 6 also has extremely strong people.
Yeah,
like, it was nice to see a lot of weak people and know that our characters are obscenely strong, and then bring out one or two even more obscenely strong people with Hit first, and then obviously Jiren next.
Yeah, God, Jiren's so fucking good. I think Jiren's like literally one of my favorite fucking characters.
Jiren's good, and I mean, so Jiren
and
works.
Topo.
I know Jiren doesn't
awesome,
work,
man.
Yes.
I love Topo.
Jiren doesn't work for a lot of people still, I think, because he is so like silent and kind of just there.
That's what I like. He's so fucking perfect. Opposite of Goku. Like, he's fighting for such different reasons than Goku. Goku's like, I just want to fucking fight you because you're strong as shit. Like, Goku does change though in that arc though. Eventually, he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to actually calm the fuck down and fight you, or I'm gonna fucking die. Like.
Well, yeah, and I think
you're
that
so
makes
much
sense too,
stronger than me.
They've built
this is not
him
a
for
game.
so long.
Yeah, like
they built him so long that he's like, okay, everyone I fight now is just like, I'll just have fun with it because they're strong, but I'm always stronger.
That's why Jiren.
I have always been
works,
stronger
though, because he is literally at that point where, yes, Goku does overcome it, but he also doesn't kill Jiren. He doesn't knock Jiren out though either.
He doesn't beat him by himself. It takes 3 of them.
And Frieza does it. So it's Frieza being not self-indulgent for 5 seconds.
Frieza, Goku, and Android 17 taking little
Even then, even Android 17 being there is like such a huge deal that you're like, oh shit, he is actually like fucking so strong,
Yes.
Because that's all he's been doing is sitting on a fucking island, you know. And so that's cool. It's like I think that's when Dragon Ball is the best. And I think that's why, like, when I tell people to watch Super, I'm like, that's why you watch Super. You have to trudge through the bullshit. But just like original Z, though, like, the Saiyan Saga just doesn't work anymore. Like, it's even in doing it, like, it's like, oh, God, let's just get through this shit. It's the one.
I love the Saiyan Saga,
I like it,
though.
but it's like the Frieza and like Cell is so good. Like, But and then you get to like the Tournament of Power and you're like, this is the same as like those were back in the day. Like they finally got what Dragon Ball
captured
was
that spirit again.
Yeah, and it feels like because like when he gets Ultra Instinct, that it's you're just fucking waiting and you feel like a child. Because I remember when we would even watch it and we talk about it, it was that one thing where just fucking like, God damn it, next episode he's gonna do it, and then they pulled the same shit. They just kept making you wait, But then when he fucking does it, it's the greatest shit in the world, That fucking music, dun 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 dun, and he fucking just does it, And then he fucking kicks Jiren's ass,
yeah.
And then he's not even fucking moving; he's just standing there.
That was great.
Got it. And that's the sad thing now is that the most.
That took me back to scene for scene for when Goku first fights against Berter and Jace. Yeah. And he's not Super Saiyan, but he's like insanely strong. And they throw. I just remember being a kid and like throwing, balls, lasers at him. Yeah. And they're like, how did we miss? He didn't move. And you're like, oh, you can see on the ground that there's, he did actually move. We just couldn't see it. It was so fast. And I'm like, oh my God. And then as an adult, like seeing that shit again, like, whoa. Yeah,
it's the one moment I went to my fiance. I was like, you need to watch this. I don't give a shit if you care 2 shits about this, but you're going to fucking watch it because it's great. And even she was like, it's pretty good. And I'm like, yes. It was that one moment. It was that fight when he was fighting Jiren, and I'm like, this is why I love Dragon Ball. It could be this like 15-minute section, but it all pays up to this fucking moment, And it's like, that's what makes me feel like a kid. So it's like that embodied with like what this game does.
And I guess that's, I was about to say the same thing. I guess that's what the game does. Is it really captures Dragon Ball? You trudge through some stuff, and so like you get the big moments.
Yeah, it's like in watching that show, it's like it does what that does in 15 minutes. Over like a 50-hour period, It's this weird thing where you're just like, and also since we haven't had any Dragon Ball stuff, like Broly took that love to like this height that it's like Dragon Ball has ascended to this like, oh shit,
Oh, yeah.
this can be incredible, because like that, that
And then we
tournament
got
of power
nothing
stuff
after.
was so good, and then they were just like, you know what, fuck it, this is gonna be even better than that.
Yeah, and
You
it
know?
was. Broly was fantastic.
God, it's
and
so
now
fucking
I'm just,
good. You know,
I want more.
and it's kind of this weird palate cleansing thing of like, hey, let's just slow it down. It's nice to see them like in their like normal states, you know, and seeing kind of Goku just kind of work back to that thing, you know. And it's like, I'm hoping this leads to like obviously another movie or a show. Like, we need fucking something. Jesus, man, it's crazy that we've had
the manga's
nothing.
still going, and we have no other, no other animated. Well, yeah, animated medium.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's weird.
Where's the show?
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video about that the other day, and Moscow X, he's the guy that does Goku for Team 4 Star, but he was talking about, he goes, from a business sense, it's like Toei's just fucking dwindling this shit, you know, and he's like, I don't understand why. He goes, the biggest deal with this, though, he goes, it's not money, it's not that people want it. He goes, Nozawa's like 84, a lot of the other people are in their 60s. He goes, if they keep waiting longer and longer and longer, they will not be able to do anything with Dragon Ball. You know, it's like, if Nozawa dies, what the fuck do you do? You know, because she is fucking Goku. Like, and it's not just like Schimmel, obviously he's been it for a long time, but there were tons of different Gokus. She is Goku. Like, there isn't anybody else. She's always played Goku, even from Kid Goku. So she is Goku. So in Japan, what the fuck do you do? Like, the dude that plays Vegeta has been fucking Vegeta. So all the Japanese, you know, for the majority of them, 80% of them have been those characters for 30 years. You know, so it's a weird thing. Like, if they keep pushing this and they don't make something, these, especially Nozawa, she's the one who's the oldest, you know. She's in her 80s. The guy who plays Vegeta is like 65. So it's like, you know. And even he was like, yeah, Japanese people live a long time, but we're pushing it, you know. Also, voice acting wise, how long can she continue? Because the shit that she does in fucking Broly is bananas, you know. And she's 80. So they need to do something. I'm sure they're doing something. Like, the fact that they're like sitting on their ass or not. I think they learned their lesson from Super in the beginning. You know, you could tell they learned their lesson as it got longer and longer. And then they would even spend, you know, they took a couple weeks before in between episodes at some point, you know. And then Broly taking its time and being
longer breaks, and
being hand animated for the most part. Like,
totally.
I think they understand, and so I'm fine if they're taking their time and actually writing a whole like arc, you know, like a big arc, and then drawing it and animating it. I just think it's been a while. Obviously, we got Broly last year, but you know, show-wise, it's been a while, so you know, I'm hoping.
Totally.
I'm hoping something happens.
It's crazy. Yeah, we keep thinking we're gonna hear something, but nothing so far.
This is filling the void for me, I think, in a good way. You know.
Yeah, sure. That's the way. I mean, for me, we kind of talked beforehand too. I still been keeping up with My Hero Academia, which is kind of scratches that itch as well. But we're not. I mean, we've kind of mentioned before, not big into anime. Like, there's just a couple that we like.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm more into like late 70s, early 80s anime. So like, I love Cowboy Bebop. I just like a lot Evangelion. Like, I like a lot of that stuff. You know, I think the most. I mean, even probably for those. I mean, you obviously like My Hero, but like, I mean, we liked Attack on Titan up until a point. You know, like, and then you know, like I've liked a few things here and there that I've watched randomly, because like when I was watching Super, I had the Funimation, I had Crunchyroll, so I was just dabbling in other stuff, because that's the other thing is like I just don't watch anymore because I'm not going to that app to watch Dragon Ball. So I think I was seeing, you know, like I watched one, it was something Bones. It was about this lady that was like, you know, could like sense bone shit. And it was kind of interesting. So I think there are like interesting animes, but because I'm not, Dragon Ball kind of brought me to like look at those animes and kind of dabble in them. But now that Dragon Ball is not there, I don't, you know, and I also have no.
It's hard too, because there's so many out there. You don't know which ones to get invested in, which ones are really worth it. Yeah,
it's hard because especially because the ones we're talking about are not just okay animes, they're like the greatest animes. So it's hard when you're like, yeah, I love Evangelion and fucking Cowboy Bebop and Full Metal Alchemist, and you're like, yeah, this is fucking like some of the best animes ever made, and Dragon Ball. So it's like, how do I just be like, yeah, somebody recommends, and if you don't inherently just like anime, like I'm gonna watch it and judge it against all of these animes. Because I'm a grown-ass man, and I'm going to be like, all right, well, nope, I don't want to watch this. I'll know in the first like 20 minutes if I'm gonna like it or not. So
Sure.
it's a weird thing it's like I said, I'm not really in a circle of people that watch anime. So
yeah, same.
It's I would love like if you guys have an anime that's not ridiculous, that's nice. You can let me know. But it's been a while.
Yeah,
like
you can kind of tell which ones we were into.
Yeah,
it's just we've even expressed like we talked about maybe like I watched some Bleach back in the day, but fell out of it because it just got way too long.
Yeah.
I mean the same goes for Naruto. It's just so much out there. It's kind of hard to get into it. One Piece, of course, like 800 plus episodes. Yeah. So those ones we're probably not going to ever take on. But, like I love like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's like 50, 60 episodes, perfect length, great show. When I watch Dragon Ball, I watch the Kai version now because I just can't watch 300 episodes, 200 of them filler. So
you don't want to watch Frieza power up. I do like though that
I experienced
in the game,
it as a kid, man.
But in the game, man, he's just like he's powered up, and you're like, that's how it should be, because he's just like he's that, and then he goes to a second form, and you're like, great.
Hey, that's the way it is in Kai, man, and that's the way it was in the original Japanese. Yeah. It's just, I mean, I do have a love for a nostalgia for seeing, because that's what I watched as a kid. I'm like, oh my god, like, is this gonna be the episode where something happens? Like, and it was a good thing almost. It was like, okay, nothing happened in this episode. Maybe the next one. Maybe the next one. Maybe the next one. Like.
But as a kid, it's fine because you're like it gives you something to watch, and that's why they did it. They knew they had to drag it out, But it's fine because it's like you were watching. But also as a child, we weren't just watching Dragon Ball. You're like, all right, exactly. I'm watching this. I'm watching Power Rangers. I'm watching Pokemon. I'm watching all this shit. Also I don't have to do shit because I'm a child. Like,
right.
But also it was this weird thing where you're like, man, I'm playing Pokemon. I'm watching Pokemon. I'm playing Dragon Ball. I'm Goku, and then you realize you're not Goku. And then it's a sad day. And now they're all just training to be Goku. And we'll never be Gokus.
Nope.
I'm not tall enough to be Goku. How tall is Goku? I don't even know. I don't think I'm tall enough to be Goku.
He's pretty tall. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure how tall he's supposed to be.
It's a random thing to know.
Look into it. It's important. No other podcaster out here talking about how tall Goku is. We're breaking the mold here.
Look at that shit. Goku's official height is 5'9". I could be Goku.
Oh, wow.
You're too tall to be Goku, though.
Well, I'll be Broly.
How tall is Broly, though? I don't know. Here, how tall is Broly? Broly's 8 feet tall.
No, that's like when he keeps growing and growing.
No, I'm saying, but that's probably his actually Broly. He's probably at his full strength, that's probably how tall he is.
Yeah. Let's see. This says he's 7'5", and then 7'8", and then 9 foot. He's still taller than you.
He is way taller than Goku, though. When you see him, even in the Broly movie, when you stand him, even when they're talking, he is.
Okay, but that's like new Broly. Or old Broly? Is new Broly that tall?
And he's still taller than Goku. At the end of the movie, when he's like, "Hey, we should fight," Broly still towers. He's just kind of lanky.
Yeah, that's why I could be.
This is funny though. Vegeta's only 5'5".
I thought he'd be even shorter if Goku's 5'8", because Vegeta is short.
Yeah, he's the same height as Bulma. That's why it's so funny. He's such a short, little, angry man. But then, shit, how tall is Krillin?
Krillin's got to be 4 feet.
He's 5 feet.
5 feet? Okay.
What the fuck? Trunks is only 4'3"?
Who?
No, that's probably Baby Trunks.
Oh, yeah, Kid Trunks, yeah.
Piccolo's 7'5"? What the fuck? This is blowing my mind. I guess he is tall. This is the weird rabbit hole you go down to.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so
Keep
weird.
It up.
Frieza is 5'2". He's not even that short. That's why he kills Krillin. He's like, fuck you. I'm taller than you, and I'm going to stay that way. Yeah, he's 4'11", and he ends up being 5'1" by the Boo Saga.
Interesting.
Hercule. You can be Hercule. He's 6'2".
Perfect. I get to be Hercule.
Hey, I mean, he's the greatest person to be. You get to hang out with.
He is the strongest human, so.
He's
not even the strongest human.
No,
Yamcha's stronger than him.
Yeah, Krillin's stronger than both of them.
Yeah. Shit.
You can be Ox King. He's 7'9".
No, he's too tall,
What the fuck? Whis is 7'7"? Jesus.
Yeah, he's pretty tall.
You can be
Cell 7
How tall are
foot
you?
in
You're
his perfect
6'3",
form.
right? Or 6'4"?
6'3".
6'3". All right, so you can be hit as 6'4".
The closest, hit. That's pretty close. King
Jiren is
Vegeta's
6'5". There's no 6'3" characters. Like you can't be anybody. Raditz is 6'1".
6'1". I was about to say
You
that
can be
too.
King
Yes,
Cold.
close.
He's 12.
Nappa's 6'10", so that rules him out. This sucks.
Yeah, Broly here it says 9 feet, so he is shorter in the new one then.
Yeah. Well, Broly's 9 feet. I think that means his final.
Yeah,
form.
his final form.
He keeps growing and growing.
Yeah, there's nobody that's
Which
just 6'3".
I get the muscles growing, but how do you end up that tall? Do your bones grow too?
Fucking dude, we're going into a whole nother thing of like I could almost be Bardock also. I can be Goku or Bardock. He's 5'10". I'm 5'9.5". It's close enough. I'll be Bardock. Nobody wants to be Bardock anyway. I'll be Bardock.
So somebody on here. So this is a Reddit thing I'm on, and I agree with this. You know, the one thing that irks me about characters' official heights is that they're never really portrayed accurately, and they're all drawn. And that's true. I mean, they're like they say this, like Goku and Vegeta are only a couple inches apart, but then they're like a full head apart when they're drawn.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between them,
don't
but
know.
I never looked at Piccolo and been like, yeah, he's 7 feet tall.
Right, he looks like the same height, maybe a little taller.
I mean,
than Goku.
I think he's taller than Goku, but if Goku's only 5'9", and fucking Piccolo's 7'5", fuck man, that's a big fucking difference. Maybe it's because he's always got his arms crossed and he's like that. He does wear weighted clothing. Maybe that's why. So he just like hunches over more,
Let me look up. I need to see all the characters like standing next to each other, like they're always portrayed. Here we go. Here's a good one. I mean, I guess I don't know. What about what's the TN? How tall is TN? Do you have that one?
I didn't see him on there. Let me see.
That's okay.
I'll look him up.
Yeah, look him up. This is important.
He's 6'2". There's no 6'3" characters.
Oh, we're getting closer.
You're getting
though.
close. Let's see. Are there any 6'3" Dragon Ball characters?
Yep, it's got to be one. Maybe one of the androids.
It just listed me back to the same thing, motherfucker. I'm gonna look through here again. Future Trunks is 5'8".
Nope, too short. Well,
nope. Android 18 and 17, they're both 5'7".
Guess I can't be a Dragon Ball character. There goes my hopes and dreams.
Yeah, I'm just 6 feet.
Okay, getting closer.
Zeno's 4'1". You can be Zeno.
That's a little less close.
I mean, yeah, but he is the most powerful thing in the universe. Just be him.
What about Gohan? What about adult Gohan? He's pretty tall.
Yeah, where's Gohan? I didn't even see him on here.
I don't know that he's probably the same height as Goku.
Gohan is 5'8". 5'9".
Yeah.
5'9" present. So I could be Gohan. I can be anybody in the Goku family. We're right there.
Lucky.
I know. See, being tall ain't all great. I'm Goku.
Hey, man, Dude, being tall sucks. Being tall means I've got more range of motion for any exercise I do, and it's harder to grow muscle.
Yeah, me too, motherfucker. I don't even want to hear it. My arms are long as shit.
Well, yeah, it's legit.
I'm the one person who's 5'9" with fucking 6'2" arms.
Yeah, blows. Yeah, you don't have those. You don't have the stocky short build.
Bullshit.
That bodybuilders want.
If I was made this short, I'm not even short. I'm 5'9". It's not like I'm a short person. Like.
Right.
It's just I'm made with like fucking 6 foot tall arms and legs. It's fucking stupid.
He's a freak. He's a freak of a person.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like me and Zach have almost the same length arms.
We almost do have the same wingspan, and I do as you've now picked up on. If you don't know us, you know our heights. So I'm 6'3", he's 5'9". So
it's stupid.
It's weird.
Like
we
my
have
legs,
the same wingspan.
Like and
I have a normal wingspan for someone who's 6'3". So that's saying something about your freakish arms.
I know. I wear 32 length pants for someone who's 5'9", which is stupid.
Yeah, to put that in perspective, I wear 34 length pants.
Yeah, it's
so
stupid.
Barely off.
Yeah, I have a very short torso. That's the weird thing. Like if anybody's picturing me, it's an odd thing. Like you don't notice it right away, and then if I told you like, look at the length of my legs and my arms, you'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
We're back, baby.
Yeah, we're back. There we go. This is what you guys were looking for.
Yep. Hey, I wanna randomly say, real quick. I'm gonna give the quickest little like what you guys missed in the last month or so.
Oh yeah, Kakarot's fine. We'll talk about it more. It's
we'll
it's
get
a good
into that
Dragon
more.
Ball thing. I'll be excited for you to play more. I'm probably gonna beat it this week because I'm gonna get all the trophies because that's me.
Do it. So I know I talked about it before, and I just wanted to put this is my final paragraph on it. Really, Shovel Knight, King Knight. I beat the expansion. I basically 100%ed it. I didn't get all the cards there are to get. I think all I said before was kind of my initial thoughts on it, which were
I think we talked about it again.
Did we? I don't ever feel like we did. I feel like we wanted to.
No, because you said it was better because we talked about it.
So now I'll just put the final
you were
bow
like,
on it.
It's better than what it was initially. No, well, we may not have recorded that, but we...
Yeah, I don't think we did.
I think we talked about it when we did Star Wars.
Yeah, we didn't. We talked about it before, so we never recorded it. So yeah, this is new for the listeners.
Not for me. I'm going to plug my ears.
I think it's one of the best expansions. I think it's one of the best because they really remix the level design. You know, with each expansion. So Shovel Knight was great. It played fun. It was awesome. Then they did Plague Knight, which is basically the same levels with minor changes and new playstyle, which is fun and entertaining. You know, it does work for that. And then they had Spectre Knight, which kind of remixed stages and redid some. You know, it was enough different, enough same, be fun. This is like so different. You know, different overworld. You're playing like same locations, but completely different, you know, built from scratch levels that are tailored to the way he plays. And they're so good and they're so creative. And like I found myself...
It took him forever, Jesus.
Yes, it did. And it was worth the wait. Because I found myself like playing these levels and being like, wow, that worked really well. That is so intuitive and so crazy. And like it's instead of... I mean, the way he plays and the way they designed the levels just were so perfect that it had the right amount of challenge. When things worked well, it felt fantastic, you know, and each expansion built on itself so perfectly. Like I said, like the first expansion, the Plague Knight, it was like, okay, this is a fun new challenge. I know this level. I know how I would solve this puzzle before, and now I've got to change that up and solve it a different way. That's cool. And this is, you know, so different. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I had a great time with it. The card stuff did end up being mostly optional. Like the first time you have to play cards.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Is mandatory, but after that it's optional. But I ended up really enjoying the card game once I understood it, and once I also understood that you can kind of buy a win. Like if you don't feel like you're gonna win, you can buy these cheats. That still they don't make you automatically win. You know, like one lets you steal the whole point is to have no more tiles left that you can play on while being in control of the 3 gems, having your cards on them. And the one I kept buying and using was the one that like whenever they had a bunch of cards, they had their card controlling them, I would just turn them into my cards, which made everything much easier, but still fun. I don't know, it was fun. And for beating all the card dudes, you get to fight a secret boss that was very, very cool. It was a really interesting secret boss that really challenged. You know, it made you utilize everything you learned. It was very challenging, very rewarding. So I had a great time with it. I love it. I love those 2D games. It's a great way to send off the Shovel Knight series. I think they're done with it now. Loved it. It was great.
Get on that fucking yacht and sail away.
Perfect.
All right. I still need to play that. I played a little bit of it. Maybe after I play Kakorat. I don't really have anything, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I really like those games. I like all the Shovel Knight games, or all the characters. So yeah, good times.
All right, I do. I just thought about something else that I've been playing. We can get through real fast, but Stardew. I played a lot of Stardew. I know we haven't never really talked about Stardew on this podcast. Maybe a little bit,
not
but
much,
yeah. They had a huge new patch that hit probably about a month ago, and it finally came to console. Like I played on PC, but my main farm that I played on was on the PS4. So I always kind of wait for those patches to trickle out to that. So finally, it added he added like 60 new items, like reworked a bunch of stuff. Like it was a lot of in-game stuff that he added to that game. This will tell you how I was feeling about Kakarot in the beginning. Like there was a day that I played Stardew Valley instead of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, you know? So it was kind of one of those things where that's initially, I'd played like the first 2 hours and I was like, and so I went and played Stardew. And now obviously I can't stop playing it, but
I'm glad to hear you say that. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Because that's like I said, that's where I was. Like I'll play a couple of days in Stardew, but there wasn't this like need to play it. And now I'm at that point where it's been like that. I mean, like I said, once I got through the Frieza stuff, I was hooked. I've been hooked, you know. Since then, I was like, I was like, it's when you know in a game, you're just like, I'm just gonna do everything. Like it's like even Bloodborne, you know, when you're like, I'm gonna do everything. Doesn't matter how long it takes me. I'm just gonna do everything. It's one of those games where I'm like, okay, you look at all the trophies, you're like, all right, everything is attainable. Nothing is going to be too tedious. I'm going to do everything. Like, I played a bunch of Stardew and I've been playing like one day in the game, like, you know, per day, trying to get in there, but they just added a lot of stuff that I think is really cool. And, there's a lot of stuff that like in your town, like in Pelican Town, like there was stuff that was kind of left undone. And like in the last patch, there was a lady that had like this, you'll know if you've played, but she was like, the drunk lady, and she had like a trailer, and you had the opportunity to then build her a house. And then like in this now, there was like this bear that you kept feeding items to, and he would like clean up the sewer area. And there's like a dog in the town that just kind of has a box and a little fence, and it gave him like a dog house and like a nice fence. So it had like all this in-game stuff that you could do, which, I mean, if you just started over, now there's just like so much to do like in this game now. I mean, because in that file, I think I'm 230 hours in, you know, in that game, which is stupid. Like, it's just crazy that I've put that much time into the game and I can still play it and like and then I started a new one. That was the thing. So I played all this and I was like, you know what? I want to see what it plays like from the beginning, because he changed a bunch of stuff and smoothed stuff out. And it's like, I'm like, I could still sit and I could play Stardew Valley for the rest of my life and like never play anything else. And I think I could still be happy. It's just like, it's like the simplest, nicest game. Like there's nothing like egregious about it. Like everything wrong with the video game industry, it has none of it. It is just like, it's pure. It's a pure fucking video game, which doesn't happen that often, you know?
Yeah, it's good.
Like even Kakarot fucking has season passes and shit like that, you know, where it's like, this is just pure, like everything he has made is free. Like Stardew Valley is fucking $14. It has always been $14, and that shit is free. Also, one dude fucking makes that game, which is fucking bananas, you know? And it's still, he actually took back all the rights for the publishing for the main platforms, and is doing all the work himself now. Because it was Chucklefish, you know, and then they fucking, all that shit happened with them, and he was like, fuck that, I'm taking all that shit back. And so he did. It's just cool. It's just cool that he's passionate about it, and like people are still like, it's like I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, this game's old. Like it's been out for a fucking while. Like, and it's like still getting new stuff, like, and it's still engaging to go back to. Like, it's just this cool thing that it's cool to kind of go back to, you know, every once in a while. And it's that thing where you're like, man, I did everything. I did all the things, and then he just adds a layer, and you're like, okay, well, now I can just do a little more. And it's like every time he does it, you kind of just add a piece to this, like, almost like this painting that you're painting. You come back and you add a little bit, and you keep just adding. And it's this cool thing that it's like, it's this game that like, it's not based on any servers. It's not like any of this shit. So it will just be there. So it's like knowing that, you know, you could just keep playing it, and there's so many different ways to just play the game. It's cool. Like,
it is really cool.
You know, like people have been talking about like games of like the decade and stuff like that. And I was like, man, you know what? I think I've put more time into Stardew Valley than anything like this decade, you know, like, and so if we're just talking about pure time of like a game, you know, like, I mean, I put a lot into Dragon Quest, but I mean, not 240 hours, like, you know, and the sad thing is it's not like the game changes that much. I'm playing the same fucking game, you know, it has a storyline, and then which ends after like 4 or 5 years in game, and I'm on year like 10 or 11, you know. So it's just crazy. It's cool. So yeah, I've been dipping my toes back in that. But other than that, that's really all the games. There's some news, so sadly, but I'm fine with it, I guess. Cyberpunk got delayed. The only downside to that is I'm going to be in college again when that comes out, which kind of bums me out because it was going to be an April game that I could play all summer, and now we have fucking nothing for the summer. Cyberpunk would have been a great thing to just like have and be like, great. Doesn't matter if anything comes out. It also would have been a nice like swan song to the end of, the generation or whatever. But I mean, now it's coming out in September. I mean,
so there's like no way it's not going to be on the next gen, and it's almost just worth waiting like the couple months.
I know somebody said that the other day, and I was like, well, that's why I'm fucking playing it on PC, so it doesn't matter. It's the one time that it's like, this is why I have a PC, because it's the one thing that I would never want to wait for, but that will just inherently be superior on the PC. And yeah, it'd be great on next gen, but that's months from then, and that's even if it comes out when those come out.
Yeah, true. Very true.
I have waited for this game since there was one interview with the guy who made Cyberpunk, and they were like, hey, yeah, we're going to make this, pen and paper thing. We're going to make it a game. And there was that one little trailer, and this was even before the trailer. They just had this and they were just talking about it. And from then I was like, I want this game so much. And then they did the trailer like 7 years ago, or whatever, 6 years ago, whatever. They're like, yeah, and it had the girl with the blades and shit. And I was like, I want this fucking game now. Witcher 3 hadn't even come out yet. And like, I was like, I want this game so bad. And then I've been waiting since then. So I guess I can wait a little bit longer.
It's true.
So, but I'm so excited. That's probably the game I'm most excited for this year. Like that. Like, especially after Witcher 3 and being like, they pulled it off, knowing that they pulled that off. Like, this game is super ambitious the more you look at it. And you're like, I could see why it's weird. Like, the games that got delayed, 2 of the 3 of them, I'm like, I get your delay. Like that and Dying Light 2. Like, Dying Light 2 looks fucking crazy ambitious. Like, I get, also Chris Avalon being there. I get why those are being pushed. Why the fuck is the Avengers being pushed? What the fuck are you polishing? Polishing that turd?
That game is going to flop so hard.
And I don't give a shit if it's good or not. It's just why the fuck that game doesn't even need to be made. So, like, it's just like, I get those. Right, and then they were like, we're also delaying the Avengers. And Square was like, yeah, like, you have games that fucking matter. You have one game, and that's a remake of a game. It's not even a new game. And you delayed it like 2 weeks. Who gives a shit? And then you delayed the Avengers. Who cares? I don't know. But yeah, we were joking earlier. I might actually play that Final Fantasy VII remake now that it has.
There's nothing else. Yeah, it has no competition.
Cyberpunk graciously moved itself from that game. Not that obviously people are going to buy that game, but Cyberpunk's going to be a fucking juggernaut. So it's like, especially now with The Witcher being so well received, and then people going back to The Witcher 3. And then finding out, oh, hey, these other people made this game. Yeah, but these people they're making this game now. Like, I think that game's going to do better than it was initially going to do, with all this Witcher stuff going on. But, yeah, it's really had, we did briefly mention, I'm almost done with The Witcher. So I have one more episode.
So we'll talk about that later.
I'm still traipsing through The Mandalorian. I'm telling you, like, I watch, like, an episode a month. I think it's like the only reason I have to justify like me paying for Disney Plus or having it is that I'm like, well, I'll just watch a Mandalorian episode here and there. I finally watched. I think I'm on episode like 5. Like, I think it's fine. Like, I think that's why it's like, I think it's good enough, but I think it's like in like short bursts. I like it, like I have not even gotten to the Gina Carano stuff, which is the next episode. Yeah, it's episode 5. Because also the last episode...
Yeah, the same place, I think, as last time we talked.
Yeah, I haven't watched it since then. Yeah, because I watched with all the bounty hunters coming down and like, killing everybody, and that was cool. And then I was like, well, that's pretty much a highlight. I don't know what they could do that's cooler than that.
Oh, it gets better. It gets worse and it gets better. There's one episode that sucks, but
the next one I have to watch, right? I think it's episode 5.
No, you've got... The next one's fine, and then the one after that sucks.
So 6.
And then the one after that is fantastic.
Okay, so I should skip 6.
No, you should watch 6.
I'll be like Entertainment Weekly when I review The Witcher.
They're only like 20 minutes.
I'll just skip some episodes and then review it. It's fine.
Yeah, they're idiots.
I watched 1 and 2 and then skipped to 5 and then didn't watch anymore, and it's terrible. That's how I review
idiots.
Shit. That's what I said about The Mandalorian. I watched 2 episodes and I was like, this is trash. I'm not gonna watch it. I can't bear it anymore. I was very heartened the other day though when I saw that Jon Favreau tweet that had George Lucas holding Baby Yoda. It warmed my heart.
Yeah.
I was like, the man's
nice.
there. You know he's asking him shit. Come on, you got George Lucas there. Ask him some shit. Take that free advice.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's an idea man. Just don't let him make anything.
Exactly. He's got the cool ideas. He just doesn't know how to implement them.
Also, this is going to be a 4-minute tangent. No more than that, because we can't talk about it any more than that, because we will. Did you read that plot synopsis for Trevorrow's Star Wars
Yes,
shit?
I did.
It sounded
Yes,
fucking
I
cool. I want a fucking space wizard to train somebody. I will tell you, that sounded way more coherent than anything they fucking made.
It did. It just.
I mean, obviously,
relied so heavily on the Last Jedi that I don't know.
But I'm saying, at least there, but that was at a time when there was a plan, But I'm saying, like, at least there, you're like, okay, see, you guys did have somewhat of a plan. You just fucking ruined it. Like,
right.
Well,
it made it obvious that the whole like, oh yeah, we wanted Palpatine from the beginning thing was bullshit.
Yeah, you knew
Complete
it was,
bullshit.
but them saying it, you're like, no, it definitely was bullshit, because here's a whole entire script where he's not in it.
Right.
Was that your creative difference? You didn't want you wanted to bring Palpatine back, and he's even in it. Like he's in it in a scene like, where he's like watching a video, a holocron of Emperor Palpatine. So he's technically in it. So that's probably what they're doing. They're like, no, we were gonna bring him back for 4 seconds. We didn't say we were bringing him back from the dead.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's my tangent. That was it.
It's interesting.
I was just like,
I mean, it would have actually involved those like the kids from the end of Last Jedi, and it would have been interesting. I don't know that it would have been a better movie, but
I mean, I enjoyed reading that more than I enjoyed watching that movie. Because I was just thinking, I was like, I just made a better movie in my head. Also, my brain went from space wizard guy like Octopus Man to Cthulhu, and then I just went to like Elder Gods, and so I was happy. I was like,
see, I think I saw the. I think I need to find another article because I read some synopsis stuff, but I don't remember. And then I saw the concept art of like the space wizard Cthulhuian.
Yeah,
thing.
he goes and trains with him on like Mustafar, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I missed that part, or I didn't see a finalized version of the article where they had more information or what. But
yeah. It sounded, at least it was different, and it was like, it would have been a different note than kind of doing the same thing, which is what they did.
Right.
But we're not going to talk about Star Wars anymore. This is a new year.
Yep. No more Star Wars.
Thank God.
It's over.
Anyway, a few more things, and then we'll let you people go. You have to deal with a long one. It's not even that long. You haven't had a podcast for a month.
No,
so
we've had longer.
Yeah. If you bitch about it, so have I. That's what she said. So we didn't get to talk about games from last year, and I was even thinking about doing it, and I was like, I was trying to scratch my brain.
Here we go. Ready. Number 1 goes to Dragon Quest, the Switch version, because it did come out last year. I like remembered that halfway through. I was like, oh yeah, I guess that game did come out last year. The version I'm playing,
yes.
So it can be my number 1. Number 2 goes to Legend of Zelda, baby.
I was trying to think. I was like, man, what would my game of last year be? And I was like racking my brain. I was like,
Dragon Quest gets it.
I was like, everybody's like, God, there's so many good games last year. And I was like, not really. I'm thinking about
there weren't.
Pure,
there really weren't.
I think there was some fine games last year, but I don't. Sadly, I think my game of the year would have to be like Resident Evil 2. I think that's the game that like surprised me the most, and I had like the most fun with. That I was like, it's one of those games that I like. This is not going to be good, and then it was good, and I was like, oh, I really like this game, and it was just good.
I think since I got a list now I'm building a list. I've got my first 2. I think number 3 goes to Shovel Knight, King Knight, whatever, King of Cards. Nice job. Number 4, I guess, Luigi's Mansion. I'm not remembering anything else.
All right. there's a game that came out, which is funny that it came out. Let's see. I would have to say, let me see. Where are these games?
And I guess number 5 would be Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I would say.
Hey, we didn't even talk about Byleth. Okay, we've talked about Byleth.
Let's see. This is not a numbered list. I'm just gonna say the games that I enjoyed because I'm looking at games in 2019. We're gonna give myself 5 minutes for this. I liked Resident Evil 2. Control was fine. I don't think it was amazing, but I liked The Outer Worlds. I liked Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put Devil May Cry 5 before Luigi's Mansion 3. Devil May Cry 5 gets number 4. Luigi's Mansion number 5.
I really liked Mortal Kombat 11. I think that was really good. Gears 5 was fine. It was pretty good. I really liked A Plague Tale: Innocence. That was a good game. Let's see. I'm just going through all the games. I don't see Shenmue 3.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding. And you know what? I'm gonna throw left field out there. Death Stranding's probably gonna be on my list. I think I enjoyed it enough that I talked about it a lot, and I've thought about Death Stranding a lot, and I still would like to finish that game at some point in my life. So I think that's probably on there. Like I said, it's probably at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And then probably Luigi's Mansion. I liked that. It was pretty good. I guess I'll put Days Gone on there. I beat that game and platinum game. So
you talked a lot about it.
Yeah, it's like I said, that'd probably I'd say that yeah. Luigi's 3 is probably 10. That's probably 9. If I was making a numbered list,
Yeah, I honestly think I can only do a top 5 because I don't know that I have enough to really make a 10.
Yeah.
I'm sure I do. I would just really need to rack my brain.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's all that's what I'm saying. I guess Call of Duty's on there. I enjoyed Call of Duty in a weird way. I like the multiplayer stuff, so that actually would probably be on the bottom. Yeah, Resident Evil 2 is probably my favorite game last year. I think, and obviously Dragon Quest would be, I already,
Yeah, but your version didn't come out. You didn't play it on the Switch.
I did. I just didn't beat it on the Switch.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I didn't beat it on the Switch either, but I've played a lot.
Yeah. I've played a lot of that game. God. Anyway, so yeah, that's that. And then so that's you didn't get a game podcast of Game of the Year, so there it is. You got in a 5-minute chunk
at the tail end after you got tired of listening to us talk about the heights of Dragon Ball Z characters and where we are in relation to that. We got to the rankings at the very end of here. So if you made it, if you hear it, kudos to you. It's a special bonus, our rankings.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it would have just been a podcast of us just dragging that out and then talking about Star Wars probably, if we had to be fair. It would have been so close to Star Wars.
It's so true.
Yeah. Chances are, if there's a tangent, it's going to be Dragon Ball or us bitching about Star Wars. And now we don't have to bitch about Star Wars anymore because it's just bad. True. Now it's a definitive fact. It's bad. And the Mandalorian is in a weird wait and see, because you can't just bring me back with some cookies. I need multiple batches of cookies that are delicious.
I mean,
not just one batch.
Really like it.
No, it's fine. But that's like if I made you a batch of cookies, you'd be like, he's pretty good at making cookies, but is he a great cookie maker? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
And then
we have to wait and see, because if they start throwing a giant budget at them, I think that's where we're gonna run into issues. Because the nice thing about the show is maybe it even has a big budget already, but it doesn't use it, and it stays so small and grounded that's what makes it feel like the originals.
I think a lot of things limited by their budget, it can help because they're constrained. Totally. They're like, hey, you can do that. That's why George Lucas is all over the place. He's like, yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want. That's a bad problem to have sometimes. But other than that, I kind of just wanted to see. There's some games, that we're looking forward to. Just we're only gonna do up until March, and then that'll be it. But I'm looking at this list. Animal Crossing: New Horizons is coming out. I'm looking for that. I mean, hopefully that's good. Doom Eternal's coming out. I'm fucking excited for that. Can't wait. Persona 5 Royal. I had actually liked to play fucking Persona. So I just hate to fucking buy that game again because I bought it and I didn't play any of it.
I know.
I hate to spend $60 again.
Oh, I know. It's so good, but it's so hard to, once you fall out of it, it's so hard to get back in.
That's what I'm saying. Like but at this point, it'd be smarter for me just to buy that one. Like,
same. I know.
so
Same.
Maybe now that Cyberpunk's not coming out, and there's really nothing else around this time, because that's the end of March. Resident Evil 3 comes out, but that's not till April. So that could be my game I kind of just chug on.
What's the date on Final Fantasy VII now?
April 10th.
Yeah, I guess that's the only thing. I guess that's my next one.
But I guess I could play Persona 5 during the summer.
True.
That's what we need to do. We need to make it our game club thing. We just need to.
Gosh, but I gotta beat Dragon Quest someday.
Yeah,
and The Witcher 3.
You got to
Kakorat.
June. We'll just say June. Because
If
we play Persona 5 in June, if we start it in June, gives us a couple months before Cyberpunk, and nothing's coming out in the summer, so we're good. That's the only time we're ever going to have to play it. And then new consoles are going to be out, and we're not going to give a shit anymore, and we'll move on. Final Fantasy VII Remake. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. The Last of Us 2 comes out in May. Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, yeah, that comes out in the summer. And then Cyberpunk, and then
I'm sorry, I changed my list. Number 1 goes to that fucking ninja samurai game that I can't even remember the name of that I love so much.
Sekiro.
Sekiro.
I didn't even want to bring it up. I was like, fuck that game.
I didn't want to either. How could I not? I was really hoping. I was stalling for time. I was like, what was that game called again? I just purged it from my memories.
There is some news that I'm very excited about, and I hope that it's true, and it would make me a very happy person. It's the last news thing that I had on there. There's been all these rumors that Sony's bringing some of their games to PC. Obviously Death Stranding's coming to PC. There's been rumors that Horizon's coming to PC. Then there's also rumors that Bloodborne's coming to PC. So that, and then there was a listing at Naughty Dog the other day for somebody with NVIDIA and PC Engine work for actually porting stuff for Last of Us 2. If they're just bringing shit to PC it's going to make it very hard for me to buy a PlayStation 5, because my computer's already better than that. So they have to make it super compelling for me to then buy a PlayStation. I mean, I would probably do it to play with other people, but man, can you imagine, those games already look good, but it's like Last of Us 2 would look incredible on a PC. Ghost of Tsushima would look incredible on a PC. Horizon would probably look incredible. I probably wouldn't play Horizon again, but I'd buy it and look at it. But yeah, man, if
you did, I could finally. That's another one. I have a backlog, man. One of them's Horizon. I could play that eventually, but
yeah, that game's good. Well, I mean, at that point, it's maybe though. Well, the good thing would be, I think the thing is, it makes a lot of sense for them to do PC stuff because it then pushes them into releasing those games, doing patches for them on the next consoles. If they're like, hey, here's a Horizon PS5 patch. If they've already done the work on the PC side, doing that scaling again, it makes more sense because then people could also, it kind of shows hey, what would this game look like on the next gen stuff? Obviously engines are going to change, but if you scale it all the way up to where a PC can go, you can go, okay, here's what it looks like, I mean, more so than anything, it's hard to tell even if you scale because a lot of next gen is going to be lighting anyway. That's what really does it. Even if you see that they leaked a Godfall thing, of some gameplay, and it just looks good, but you're the lighting is just so much better than lighting is now. So, yeah, the only thing I'm excited for is just SSDs. Let's get on the bandwagon because damn, Dragon Ball Kakarot takes forever to load. This is the one time I was like, man, I'm fine with playing it on here, but I wish I was playing it on my PC because it would load so much faster. And it does. I mean, it's 20-second loads on PC, and it's minute-long loads, 2-minute loads on console. But it's fine. Yeah. So those are some things we're excited for. Obviously, stuff will get announced at E3. Sony, yet again, is not going. So, I wonder if they're going to do. They usually do their thing in February, so I'm curious to see what they do. Now that we got the little Xbox thing, I kind of want to know what their console looks like. Is it going to be ugly under my television?
We'll learn pretty soon.
You know, but yeah, if Bloodborne comes to PC, oh my god, I'll be so excited. Yeah, because hopefully it would fix the frame pacing and like shit that game had. Plus that game just looks good, so just seeing that game look a little bit better. I don't think I'd play it again, but you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know that after all the time we sunk into it, I'm not sure if you'd. Yeah, it'd be fun to see how it looks, but
yeah.
All right, dog, I'm ready to end this podcast. How about you?
I mean, that's all I got. I went through the list.
I figured.
I went through the list. The list is the list is the master. If the list is done.
The list is the master. All hail the list.
All hail the list. You know, the list is.
Thank you for joining us.
So it must be great.
We'll see you again in like 4 months.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
We'll talk to you again when when Final Fantasy VII comes out. It'll be just like
I look forward to talking to you about Final Fantasy. Yeah.
It'll be like 1997 all over again. That's all this. That's all this has been. You know, we're talking about Dragon Ball this year. It's like 1997.
It's true. Dragon Ball and Final Fantasy VII.
Weird
Funny.
Times. All right. Well, that's been it. You know, do all the things. Sorry, we've been gone for so long. We will rectify that now.
We'll be back.
Yeah. So next week, you know, we'll talk. I'll try and finish up because I should have some time. I'll try and finish up The Mandalorian and The Witcher, and so
do it.
We can talk about that.
Please.
It's about time. I'm probably the only person who hasn't finished it. So
I know, for real.
I got video games to play. Okay, TV is secondary.
Yeah, I guess I've been watching those rather than playing games. So
yeah, I'm a real gamer. Okay,
I'm not
true gamer. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, do all the things. Follow us on everywhere. We'll be more active now that we're off that was our hiatus. It was a unintentional hiatus.
Little winter break.
Little winter break for you guys. You got a break from us. Now we're back. But that's it. Until next time. I've been Chris.
I've been Zach.
All right. We're out. Bye.
Peace out.
You just listened to the Fetch Quested something or other with audio. Like, subscribe, or something.
Oh, darn, I like you. I like
me, you idiot, the podcast.
Well, I like you plenty.
Join their Patreon or something.